now available in paperback and e-readers. Spellbound, a darker shade of black. Get your copy today at your favorite online bookseller. Yesterday, the country inaugurated Joe Biden as the 46th President of the United States and Kamala Harris as the 46th Vice President of the United States. And while most people were focused on policies and tangibles they were going to get from their government, we had the black community at large out here celebrating getting absolutely nothing in exchange for all of the votes that they gave to put your Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in office. Now, most of these black Americans out here, they were whooping, hollering, and celebrating like Jesus came down from the earth with this Joe Biden inauguration. However, what were they celebrating? That's the critical question I want to ask all of those black people after it came out in that tape where Joe Biden said he was going to do absolutely nothing for black people. Why were all of these people in the black community whooping, hollering, and celebrating the fact that they were going to get nothing in exchange for their votes, and the fact that they voted in the largest majority and were going to get absolutely nothing for their votes? I mean, when I look at the way these black people were acting, it was just embarrassing, and it was even more embarrassing all of the empty platitudes and empty symbolism they were just out here celebrating. Now, we had these black folks out here, and they were celebrating these empty symbolic gestures like they had accomplished something major. We had people talking about the black woman who was a part of an honor guard and celebrating that. We had people talking about this young 22-year-old black female poet and the poem she read at this inauguration like it was something significant. And then we had black folks sitting there talking about Michelle Obama's hair and how straight it was, and others talking about these Chuck Taylor sneakers Kamala Harris was wearing and the pearl necklace that she was wearing. And I listened to all of this, and I don't see anything that is remotely anything of substance, and it shows how lost a lot of black people are, that they're caught up in these social, empty, symbolic gestures and social matters, and not thinking about any of the tangibles as related to issues that you're supposed to go to your local politicians for. No, for them, it was just another case of show and tell, and it was all about them talking about hair, nails, necklaces, shoes. I mean, this is clown behavior as I see it. I mean, when you're going before a dignitary, you're supposed to be going there not for how you look, but you're going there because you have issues that you want presented and you want tangibles in exchange for the votes that you have brought to the table to that candidate as related to your issues. But instead of them talking about these issues, we had black people caught up in social matters and social foolishness and empty symbolic gestures that mean nothing. I mean, what happened to the black woman who sang at President Trump's inauguration? 4 years later, this woman says she couldn't find any work at all or anything. So that shows us how these empty symbolic gestures don't really bring anything tangible to somebody later on. Because that may be the same fate that happens to this 22-year-old poet, and it may happen to many of the other people we're talking about. Platitudes, about these empty symbolic gestures. They may not get anything tangible out of this outside of saying, oh, I went to the Joe Biden inauguration and the only thing I got was didn't even get a lousy t-shirt. So all of these black people, they're sitting there acting like they've accomplished something major. And what's really sad is you were told to your face weeks ago you were not going to get anything tangible out of this president. That should have been more than enough reason for you to stay home, because I know when I heard Joe Biden say he wasn't going to do anything for black people, I didn't even turn on my television to watch this inauguration because it wasn't worth my time. If I'm not going to get anything tangible out of the deal, or there's nothing tangible on the table for black people, then why should I even waste my time to even watch this nonsense and spend hours of my time watching a politician who has already told me that he's going to do nothing for me? If you're not going to do anything for me, then I'm not going to waste my time even watching you. But most black people, again, because they think a white person paying them some attention means that it's important, they will just go out here and sacrifice their intangibles like their dignity and their self-respect, all because they believe God is paying them some attention when a white person pays them attention. So they will sit there and sacrifice their intangibles as related to their character, like their dignity, their self-respect, and their self-worth, to go watch a Joe Biden inauguration and think that they're doing something significant, because we know that many of these black folks, they're going to be headed out looking for pearl necklaces now that Kamala Harris has worn them. And they're going to be going out here looking for Chuck Taylors because Kamala Harris wears them. And because this biracial is wearing these sneakers, they're creating a covert contract with themselves, thinking that this may lead to them getting some possible social acceptance. And that's the saddest part, is black people value social currency over actual tangible wealth, and building actual tangible wealth in their own communities, or getting tangibles in exchange for the votes that they made that actually put this man in the White House. Because if it wasn't for those black voters who were voting based on emotion and the quest for social acceptance, this man would not be in the White House right now. And sadly, most black people, all they got was a big bag of nothing, and all they really want really is social acceptance. So they were willing to sacrifice everything. Meanwhile, your Joe Biden, in his executive orders, was making policy to go out here and help out Hispanics, and ironically use these Hispanics to, in some cases, replace many of these black workers out here and black people. And they don't even understand you voted against your own interests, but you can't explain that to black people because they want to be liked so badly. They don't understand the importance of respect. And if people don't give you respect, you take it. But sadly, most black people are too scared to take that respect because they're so busy wanting to be liked that they're willing to sacrifice something tangible in order to get the intangible of being liked, which is an emotion. And emotions, again, are arbitrary when it comes down to your other ethnic groups. They could care less about liking you. They will put on a friendly face to get you to do what they want. And then once they get what they want, they send you packing with absolutely nothing. Meanwhile, other groups like Hispanics will sit there and get your tangibles at the black man's expense, because the black man is not smart enough, or the black woman is not smart enough to make those demands and say, this is what I want in exchange for my vote. No, they just, as long as you give them a little attention, they will just go sit there and take it. And again, we look at Biden's policy. He talked about lift every voice, but we didn't, when those executive orders first came out, the first group was immigrants who got the policy. And that's a slap in the face, because all those black people, if it wasn't for them, there would be no Biden presidency. It was black voters who put Biden in the White House. And what do black voters get but another pimp slap to the face? And again, that's all black people's fault, because black people want to be liked and not respected. But when you're liked, all you get is disrespect, because like is a feeling that's only temporary, but respect is something that you get when you demand better. And sadly, we see from black folks, all they're caught up in is social currency. And that's why after the election of another president, they're not going to have anything of value in the next 4 years, and you may possibly get more oppressive policies that keep black people from even gaining anything in 4 years. Because when I look at Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, I don't see anybody who's going to support black people. All I see from, again, day one action, and even before that, is contempt for the black people who voted to get them in office. And all we're thinking about is the pearl necklaces and shoes. And what are pearl necklaces and shoes going to do for black people in 4 years? That's a critical question I want to ask all those people talking about, oh, look at the Chuck Taylors, look at the pearl necklace. What does that get you in 4 years? What tangibles does that bring? Because those Indians are going to get tangibles in jobs. Those Mexicans are going to get tangibles in jobs and citizenship policy. But what are you going to get, black people? You're going to get a couple of cool points that last about 8 seconds, and then you're going to go back to being the same poor guys who are standing outside of one of these stores owned by other people, giving them 97% of your dollars, while you're sitting there complaining about a system that does not work for you. Instead of you saying enough is enough, I'm not going to keep playing these games, because all these people, had they stayed home on November 3rd, maybe things would have been better, and maybe they would have actually gotten some tangibles in exchange for their vote. If you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to pick up some of my positive SJS Direct fantasy fiction, or my other books like The Man Crisis, you can find those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format, Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Coming to paperback and e-readers in 2021, John Haynes, Taking Care of Business. The man who rules the world breaks on a brand new partner to help him take care of business in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get John Haynes, Taking Care of Business in 2021 at online booksellers everywhere.